Tonight at 6, banding together in the wake of tragedy, the D.C. community gathering at this hour to honor the life of a young chef. The details live on scene. Finding work, the effort in Maryland to support fired federal employees. A breakdown on the gigs that could provide new opportunities. Nearing peak bloom, the cherry blossoms are starting to show their stuff. We'll tell you just when the climactic event happens to plan your trip near the National Mall.
And it has been dry to this point, but rain is on the way. We'll talk about the timing of the rain and show you your future cast for tonight and tomorrow morning's commute coming up.
And spring cleaning savings. Heading inside the consignment store to find ways to keep cash in your wallet. We're stretching your dollar.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good Sunday evening. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 6 o'clock. I'm Ben Dennis. We begin tonight with breaking news. A man was found shot and killed this afternoon in Prince George's County. Police have just shared word this happened in Capitol Heights around 1:45 on Boones Hill Road near Benning Road. They say the man was found outside. That's where he died. No word on any suspect description at this hour. Stick with us on air and online for the latest. New tonight in Maryland, police say that a young man is dead after being shot inside a house early this morning in Bowie. We're told this happened just after midnight on St. Michael's Drive near Central Avenue. Police say they found the victim shot several times. He died on scene. No word on what led up to the shooting or word of any suspects. Meantime, in D.C. early this morning, 2 men walked into George Washington University Hospital after being shot in the DuPont Circle neighborhood. Police say they got the call for the walk-in shooting victims just after 3 a.m. They were conscious and breathing at the time. No update on their condition or suspects at this hour. Happening now, loved ones are gathering to remember one of D.C.'s latest homicide victims, a beloved community member. This is a live look at a memorial service near the home of Darius Young in Southeast. Soon to happen, somebody shot the 33-year-old just before 9:30 p.m. on March 14th along Benning Road. He died at the hospital. Young had been known as Chef Nico. He took after his grandmother, who owned a restaurant in Anacostia, and father, a former MPD officer who now caters food. Police are offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. We will have more on this memorial service slated to happen any moment, but that's coming up at 9 and then at 10 on the CW. Switching gears over your forecast weather now with meteorologist Scott Sumner. Scott, kind of a mixed bag in that live shot. You see a little pink in the sky, but mostly cloudy there on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be that way here for the remainder of the evening, and we have showers developing. As we take a look at our satellite radar, taking back, a couple of hours, 3 hours at 2:55, 3 o'clock, and you can see that some light rain out towards Garrett County, but as we've just noticed here, locally, we're looking dry at this point in time, but plenty of clouds on top of the viewing area, and those clouds will hang around the district overnight tonight. It will continue to lower and thicken here, especially east of D.C., out across portions of southern Maryland and southern Virginia as well, and southeastern portions of Virginia. Temperatures, well, they're going to take a bit of a dive here into the mid-40s, so milder tonight, way milder because of the clouds and the showers that are moving in compared to where we were just 24 hours ago. So we have rain returning overnight tonight, and that will linger into your morning commute on Monday. Some spotty showers on Tuesday night going to Wednesday, and warming up for next weekend. We'll break it all down, of course, as I always do, with my full 7-day forecast. Ben?
Looking forward to it, Scott. Thanks. All right, just one day after the Cherry Blossom Festival officially kicked off in D.C., we are one step closer to peak bloom. The National Park Service says the cherry blossoms at the Tidal Basin, well, they've entered their 5th of 6 total stages. Peek in there. You can see those pieces of pink peeking out. They're in a puffy white stage. You can see the blossoms are starting to tease what's to come when they open in full. Peak bloom is expected March 28th through the 31st. Enjoy it, everybody. All right, some news today. Pope Francis has returned back to the Vatican after a long stint at the hospital suffering what doctors called a life-threatening bout of pneumonia. Take a listen. New video shows the Pope being wheeled out of the hospital there. The 88-year-old pontiff was seen wearing nasal tubes, help with his breathing, and eventually Pope Francis returned to the Vatican, but not before stopping at the St. Mary Basilica, where he always goes to pray after a foreign visit. Pope Francis has said that he chose to be buried at the Basilica to be near it. Time at 6:04. Fired federal workers that live in Montgomery County may be able to go to the front of the line for open jobs with the county. Kevon Dupree tells us why the proposed legislation could be a lifesaver for many.
Montgomery County Council Vice President Will Jawando introduced Expedited Bill 1025 on Tuesday. He's hoping qualified former federal employees are placed at the top of the list for county job openings. Montgomery County Council Vice President Will Jawando introducing legislation meant to help displace federal workers.
This bill will guarantee that these civil servants are considered earlier in the hiring process and are interviewed if they meet the qualifications of the job they are applying for.
The proposal, which comes after actions by the Trump administration left thousands of federal employees without jobs, is intended to give those workers a leg up in finding new positions. Juliet Rizzo is among more than 1,000 federal workers who live in Montgomery County and lost their jobs.
I just want to share a few hardships when I think about unemployment. For me, I think about the cost of this wheelchair that raised us up to this podium.
Kate Greenberg worked at NIH for nearly 15 years before she was fired.
This is not how you treat human beings, and it's certainly not how you treat your own workforce.
Rizzo and Greenberg say they're grateful for the opportunity this bill could present if voted into law.
I want to continue to serve. I believe in what's being done here for federal servants.
If the federal government won't retain its best and brightest, why not put that talent to work at the county level?
Jawando addressed concerns of people who may apply for county jobs but aren't former federal workers.
We want to help them find employment too, but it's a whole government response, and I think this is a targeted response for specifically targeted in a negative way population.
And community members will have a chance to share their thoughts on Expedited Bill 1025 during a public hearing on April 1st. Reporting in Rockville, I'm Kevon Dupree, DC News Now.
All right, thanks to Kevon. Meantime, Maryland state lawmakers are still weeks away from finishing their legislative session, but they're increasingly anxious about cuts to the federal workforce. State officials say as many as 11,000 Marylanders who work for the federal government could be laid off. Montgomery County State Delegate Lily Chee said at a conference in Frederick earlier in the week that the state has to be proactive.
The layoffs disproportionately affect a community like Frederick and Montgomery and the National Capital Region. We need to make sure that our communities are held together in this difficult time.
Delegate Chee also said the state could be impacted by the loss of federal grants and contractors that were awarded to Maryland-based firms. Well, we continue to see a spike in violent attacks on Tesla cars, dealerships, a lot of vandalism, as CEO Elon Musk remains a close advisor to the president to cut the federal government. Well, the U.S. Department of Justice is now investigating the vandalism as domestic terrorism. A recent case in Arlington County, we brought it to you last night, but this image may be disturbing to some viewers. Somebody in Virginia keyed a swastika on the hood of somebody's Tesla. There's been brewing frustration with the billionaire and his Doge team, which has led efforts to fire thousands of federal workers. It's fueled vandals to set Teslas on fire or be graffitied. There have also been nonviolent protests like the ones we've seen in the DMV. A political ethics expert says the peaceful demonstrations historically can be productive.
This can draw attention, create space for a conversation. Let's have that conversation. Protests should not be violent. Violent protesters should obviously face legal consequences.
Musk is the biggest donor to then candidate Trump's campaign. He has not only defended Musk's involvement in the federal government, Trump recently even turned the lawn of the White House seemingly into a Tesla showroom. All right, in our schools, a top leader in the Department of Education abruptly quit after less than 2 years on the job. Lisa Coons says that she's resigning, citing new opportunities. She was appointed as superintendent of public instruction by Governor Glenn Youngkin in March of 2023. His office released a statement that reads, in part, Governor Youngkin deeply values Dr. Coons' dedication to Virginia students, parents, and educators. Growing concern for parents in Northern Virginia. The Arlington school budget proposal could mean closing a beloved preschool for special needs students. DC News Now's Liberty Simmons shows us how parents are fighting to keep it open.
Well, parents are taking action against the potential closure of their preschool program Integration Station here behind me. They're circulating a petition to stop all of this, which has now reached more than 1,100 signatures.
I was shocked that APS looked to cut. They targeted toddlers with disabilities.
Parents Aaron Turner and Sarah Ravi say their children depend on the services Integration Station provides for students from 2 to 4 years old with special needs.
This is an amazing school that has provided such great services for my daughter who's disabled. I feel so strongly that it needs to continue.
But the Arlington Public Schools 2026 budget includes a proposal to move their students from Integration Station closer to their home schools instead.
Not every homeschool does have adequate services for kids with special needs.
Arlington Public Schools says it is dealing with budgetary challenges and less funding. The budget says ending the program would save $670,000.
That the school board and myself are aware that we are not able to meet some of our priority needs. There are many things we identified and discussed that are not funded in this budget. And they're not funded in this budget because we do not have the proper funding coming from the state.
It released a statement saying in part it is the beginning of the budget process and the proposal includes a range of reductions and cost-saving measures. There are many opportunities for community feedback. Now, the next school board meeting is set for March 27th, and the parents say they plan to be there to protest to keep their preschool program open. For now in Arlington, Liberty Simmons, DC News Now.